Hello. Again, I started out talking to myself, but that's okay. I'm going to keep practicing this skill. So for those of you that watch this later, welcome to Ask Melissa Anything, another Thursday Night Live. We're going to be talking about tummy time tonight, which, as you'll see, I am on my tummy in my bedroom because it's the only place with a door. So the kids are in the other room, and I am in my shelter-in-place clothes. So let me just show you real quick. I didn't change out of what I wore all day. Look at these fabulous pajama pants. These are my Alaska pajama pants that I got for Christmas from my parents who went to Alaska. And as you can see, they have moose on them. So, or is that elk? Oh no, if I get that wrong, that's terrible. So anyway, they're super comfy, and that's what I've been wearing today. So we're going to talk about a specific topic tonight, and if you do have questions, I'm hoping I do a better job than I did last week seeing them in the chat, because some of them, as you guys posted your questions, they just didn't pop up. And so what I'm doing tonight is I'm doing this off my phone because, well, it's the best way to get on the floors with the phone, but I'm going to run the chat over here on my computer, and hopefully if you have a question, I'll see it. So have some patience with me as we do this. So, sorry, goodness gracious, I got on my tummy and it's like caused me to get all congested. No, I don't have the COVID. I've been feeling good, so praise the Lord for that. But I do have my water. All right, so I don't know what you're doing at home these days. I, as some of you may know, am treating our most urgent, kind of critical patients at this point. So I'm out of the home a couple days a week. But this afternoon got to be home and found myself sitting for a long period of time. I ended up in the basement and ran across the scrapbooking / craft table, which has so much stuff because it's my stuff combined with my sister's. So it's this heaping pile of craftiness, and I wanted to start to tackle it, and I didn't even really know where to start. But what I found was a couple of boxes of photos and stuff I had kept to scrapbook, tickets. You ever keep those tickets for movies you saw back in high school? And brochures, all that kind of stuff. So I took 2 or 3 boxes over to the couch and started going through. Now, the funny thing is when you start to sort through something, I touched hundreds, thousands of pieces of paper and photos, and found some old stuff, tried to sort it a little bit by category. Anyway, I'm digging through, I'm going down memory lane a little bit. I'm finding pictures of the kids, of course, stuff all the way back to childhood, college years, all that stuff. So I'm sifting through and I'm creating these piles and setting aside. It feels so good to throw stuff away. But what I realized after a while is I'd been sitting. And that is one of the things that we talk about a lot in our office with our clients, especially when they come in with, let's say, neck pain or back pain, or numbness and tingling down the extremities associated with neck pain or back pain. And so one of the things we've been talking about in our seminars, we just did a class kind of beginning of March with Dr. Neil Renaud, who is with Eagle Eye Vision Performance. We got together to talk to parents about stuff you can do with your kids. And so we're going to touch on that stuff a little bit tonight. Hi, Megan. Thanks for joining. So hopefully, again, you guys are on your tummies because we are going to do some movements tonight. I'm going to show you a couple of things. But I have found when I spend too much time during the day sitting, I actually am craving tummy time at night. And for sure, one of the things after the kids go to bed is I like to watch something on the DVR. I like to kind of turn off my brain a little bit. I'll admit I just need to shut it all down. But when I sit on the couch and it dips in, I can actually feel the front of my hips feeling tight. And it is actually fairly common with movement disorders, hip pain, back pain, for the right front of the hip, the right hip flexor, to actually be tighter than the left, and I feel it. So getting on the floor, which is where I'm at tonight. Again, for those of you joining later, I am wearing my favorite shelter-in-place pants. They're my Alaska Christmas pants for my parents, so I'm wearing those. So on my tummy here, this is doing a couple of different things. One, it's making me put weight through my shoulders, okay? Weight bearing through our shoulders is one of the really important developmental stages of childhood. And for our kids to spend time on their tummies, army crawling, rolling, doing all that stuff really builds a lot of strength through the shoulders and the shoulder blades, and that helps promote upright posture. The other thing that this is causing me to do is hold my head up, which as a child is really hard to do, but what we notice in modern culture and modern posture is we are rounded and forward. And so this helps me hold it up. The other thing that it's doing is that it's causing me to extend in my low back, all right? So it allows me to get up into that position here and just kind of hang out here. That should not be painful for you. I was talking to somebody the other day and we were doing this, I think, and they're like, yeah, I just don't go into that position. And it's not, no offense to anybody in their 80s, but it was somebody who wasn't in their 80s. And that's not normal. You should be able to get on your stomach and lay here for a while and not be in pain. If you are, it's usually identifying some type of limitation. Range of motion in the joints, loss of flexibility in the muscles, or weakness. And so those are the things that we look for. So in the middle of this season, I highly recommend, well, and really when you sit a lot, depending on what your life looks like, spending a fair amount of time on your tummy. Now, how do you take that to the next level? Okay, so hopefully you're all on your tummies with me. We're gonna do some back extensions. This is fairly simple. It's a version of a push-up, so to speak, but what you wanna keep in mind is your hips or your pelvis is going to stay on the floor, all right? So again, I got my fancy home video camera here. So I'm on my tummy, all right? So I'm flat on the floor, all right? You would have your neck straight down on the floor. Hopefully you're doing that right now. I can't talk to you and demonstrate as well at the same time. So what you're doing though is you're flat, elbows are at your side. You can see me here. And what we're gonna do is we're going to extend through that low back. All right. Now I will admit there are a couple of back disorders that this would be not recommended for you to do. So obviously I am not in your bedroom on the floor showing you these exercises or in the middle of your living room or even on a treatment table right now. So keep in mind, I am recommending these in general terms, but obviously if there is a challenge or a problem with it, don't do it, okay? I'm not trying to hurt anybody here. Otherwise, call our office for sure when, you know, everything is lifted and let's get you figured out. So, but back extensions. So again, we're extending, we're trying to straighten those elbows out. Now, depending on the amount of motion you have in your back, you'll go way up or you'll stop somewhere here in the middle. But what we want to do is do repeated extensions. And so when we're in acute pain, if we are in a situation where we are having back pain, we are having numbness and tingling down the leg, we recommend doing 10 repetitions. And that is very simply, you're coming up. With a pause, I am relaxing through my low back, and then I come back down. Again, I'm pushing up. I am pivoting right in my low back. I am keeping my pelvis and the front of my hips on the floor as I extend, all right? So it does a couple of things here. One, it makes sure that you have extension in your low back. You should be able to bend backwards, not just forwards, and most of our life causes us to bend forward. The other thing that it does, and like I mentioned earlier, is it opens up our hips. That's what I love the most about spending time on my tummy, is that I am opening up the front of my hips. And that is what gets tight when we sit too much, whether it's in the car, on the couch, or at our computer desk. So any of those situations. One other tiny little tweak or tip is when you are on your tummy, make sure that your feet are in neutral. So some of us, our legs naturally turn out. Some of them naturally turn in. You want to make sure that they're nice and straight. And that's a hard thing to show. My feet naturally want to turn out. If you can see that back here, you want them in the middle because you will notice a difference in the hips on how it stretches, okay? So again, First thing to do is spend some time on your tummy. I know that this is something I've talked about with Rachel, my sister-in-law, and she's been getting her kids to do more of this stuff on their, more reading or schoolwork on their tummies, and it's giving our kids a break as well. Varying positions, whether we're talking about our kids or us as adults, is good for our bodies. This also, by the way, opens up our chest, allows us to breathe easier, all of those things. So many benefits from extension, from opening ourselves up. And again, I'm not doing anything fancy here, but I can tell you my shoulders are getting a little sore because, of course, I am too weak and don't do this enough. But I'm also getting that motion in my back, okay? So we can just hang out here. I can open up the front of my hips. But again, don't forget extensions. But again, not full push-ups. I'm keeping my hips down. All right. So to do a little bit more work for the neck and the shoulders, this is might be a little bit harder to show, but I hope you follow me here, is that you're going to lay basically with your face flat on the floor. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift our head parallel to the floor. Again, if you have any questions, let's see. I see that, hold on a second here. I am seeing what's going on because I think I see Tracy's jumped in here. I'm going to check and see what those comments are happening over here. Nope. Tracy sent me a message. See these dings. I'm not so great at Facebook Live. Okay, Rachel, explain what it means for people that can't extend all the way up without pain. Okay, Rachel, good question. She's keeping me on track. So if you can't fully extend, before I get to the stuff in the neck, which, if you can't fully extend in the neck either, can mean that there's some type of obstruction. Now, I feel like when we mention the word bulging disc, a lot of people kind of get really nervous and freaked out and automatically think that a disc problem equals surgery. I think I talked about this last week. I believe in prayer and physical therapy, and I've had a severe bulging disc in my neck. One does not automatically equal the other. But when you can't extend, you could have loss of flexibility in the front of the hips, like we already talked about. You could have a disc in your low back, if we're talking about extending the low back, that's blocking you. And so we really want free and clear motion. The other thing could just be you are a tighter, more restrictive, your body type is less bendy than others. I always jokingly say that men are usually stronger, taller, faster, all of those things, but we as women, we get flexibility. So most of the time, this is a much easier motion in healthy people for women than it is for men, all right? But keep in mind, it's not how far you move, it's that you're moving in the low back and we're not compensating by lifting our hips up off the floor, all right? So when we talk about the neck, extension here is really all about how do we get the back of our head stronger, again, to hold ourselves up, all right? So bad posture, right? Like this is reading a book. This is sitting at our desk. We get rounded and pulled forward. And so we want to do things that make us taller, stronger, and more upright. And so we really want to get the back of our body, all right? So what you're going to do here, again, we're on our tummy the whole time. Put your face flat on the floor. If it's hard for you to breathe, we'll sometimes put a towel underneath your forehead. But you're here down, okay? I'm going to look at you so you can hear me. But what you're going to do is you're going to lift your head up off the floor, parallel to the floor. So I'm lifting up, and I'm holding. I'm not looking up like this, and I'm actually not looking down, okay? I am coming flat and parallel to the floor, all right? That position is a great way to get started in getting the back of the neck working, and it also pulls you out of a forward flexed position. So you're parallel to the floor. Then what I love to add in next is a shoulder blade squeeze. The shoulder blades, if they're not strong, if you can't pull your shoulder blades back, it is one of the major contributing factors to rotator cuff impingement or rotator cuff problems. Like I said, I have the privilege right now of treating patients that are post-surgical, and we have a post-surgical shoulder right now, and we're trying to get that range of motion back. And you would think, just move it, just force that shoulder to move. No, if the shoulder blade is engaged, if it's pulled down and back, it actually creates so much more space here where that rotator cuff is coming through to allow this movement freer. Same thing is true when we're slouched and bent forward. We lose motion in the shoulder. So that shoulder blade, pulling those shoulder blades down and back that hold us upright, one of the most important things. Now, if it was really easy to do, everyone would be strong there, but we're just not, because gravity always wins. We sit too much, and it's just a muscle group that sometimes gets ignored. So again, we're parallel to the floor. I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to come over here so you can see me. I'm going to lift my head parallel to the floor, and then I'm going to pull my shoulder blades together. So I'm lifting up, and then I'm pulling together. Can you see that? I have lifted up. I kind of look like I'm skydiving on the middle of my floor. So I am just pulling together. The key is that you feel the muscles working in the back of your neck and between your shoulder blades. You want to pull and hold. And what I find when I'm doing this, okay, so if I'm at home and I'm like this, now I'm up a little bit higher than I would be, so I don't want to feel that in my low back. But if I'm holding like this, I can get really tired. Don't look up like I am. Again, head flat to the floor, but you're holding this position. If you like to hold it for long periods of time, if you want a timer, that's fine. I just like to hold it until I kind of get tired of it. I have found that sometimes I'll get headaches. Sometimes I will have different pain down my arms because, again, a history of a bulging disc, so my disc is vulnerable to getting ticked off. And if I go home and do 10 to 15 minutes of extension, of the back bends, of the chin tucks on my stomach, and of the shoulder blade squeezes, in about 10 to 15 minutes, I can make my pain go away, which kind of ticks me off, to be honest, because that means I actually have to do something. But being proactive and building more strength and working on my range of motion actually sets me up for success much longer. And I always jokingly say, oh, I have to practice what I preach. So it's kind of a hard thing to do. So it's very simply, you're pulling that together and then you're lifting up and you're holding. But you want that head to be flat with the floor, so that you're not getting any pinching. So getting that low back extension that we kind of went over, okay? Doing those prone press-ups, what we call them. Doing your chin tucks, and then if you want to do chin tucks with shoulder blade squeezes and do those holds, you're basically using gravity as your resistance at this point. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I think I won't miss any this time. I'm working hard and trying to just pay attention to what's going on. For those of you who may watch this video later, feel free to ask your questions as well. We'll come back, and as we get notified of those questions coming through, we'll do our best to answer them. But to me, this is one of the most simplest things. Low back extension, chin tucks on your tummy, and shoulder blade squeezes. Those 3 exercises can make a world of difference if you're trying to manage or fight pain that may be developing in your neck, shoulders, low back. Also really important to counteract long periods of time of sitting with extension. So again, change up your routine a little bit, vary it, get on your tummy, have your kids get on their tummy to read books, do schoolwork from your tummy, have meetings. Do your Zoom meetings right now from your tummy. But I've been on my stomach now for about 20 minutes, and I will tell you, I feel it through my shoulder blades. I can feel it working. And it's not a full plank. Now, if I'm going to jump way ahead here, if you really want to develop good strength through your neck, your shoulder blades, your low back, butt, gut, and hamstrings, planks. The thing about planks, though, is it's really easy to do them incorrectly if you're not engaging all the right muscle groups. So I like to recommend starting out with those prone extensions, the chin tucks, and your shoulder blade squeezes. Anything else? I know we've had people coming and going during this time. Any other questions that I might be able to ask for you about tummy time? Again, not a hard thing to do to incorporate into everyday life. I find, again, if you're spending a fair amount of time sitting, do that to fight it. Spend time on your stomach. Break things up. Give yourself a chance. Any other questions right now? Rachel, I think you're still here. Anything else that I'm forgetting? Let me look at my notes here a second. Definitely, yeah. And this is what we had talked about when we met with Dr. Neal. Just keep in mind, okay? And I'll probably end on this note. We talk about this all the time. Pain is not normal. And that is true for your kids as much as it is for you. Headaches, neck pain, low back pain, numbness and tingling, radicular symptoms, which is things that travel. That stuff is not normal, okay? Yes, it's a way that God let us know when we have some problems, but certainly not a normal thing. So, Rachel, thanks again for your comment there. I know she has done a great job of starting to incorporate these things into her everyday life. These are things, be proactive. We get one body, and thankfully God gives us so many warnings when things are breaking down or not working. But we also need to pay attention when those warning signs or those symptoms or numbness and tingling, stabbing, shooting, throbbing, aching, burning, whatever symptom it may be, those things are not normal. And we want to make sure that we're using our bodies to the best of their capacity, of their abilities. We can get stronger no matter what the age. And I just encourage you to take good care of your body during this season. And if there is anything that we can do to help, please reach out. You can always message us here through Facebook. You can call the office. Any and all of the above. So again, thanks for spending a little bit of time on your Thursday night with your quarantine team, and we'll plan on seeing you next week. We'll figure out what we're going to talk about next Thursday night, but we'll find something else that's really practical and simple for you to impact your life. Thanks for joining. All right, technology, here we go. All right, Melissa out.